Hello everybody, my name is Sheila SL Reads, and today I'm going to be doing my December wrap-up and January TBR. I hope you are having a happy new year. It is currently January 1st and I've already finished a book, which I will talk about in my TBR. The first book that I finished in the month of December is The Royal We by Heather Cox and Jessica Morgan. This had been on my TBR for a while. For the past few years I never picked it up, but I was interested in it because I like the royal family, and this follows essentially like a Will and Kate-like relationship. There's a girl who meets a guy at college, she ends up falling in love with him, and he is the Prince of England, and pretty much she has to deal with everything that comes with that, with the drama and the tabloids and just the heartbreak and everything, and it's very interesting. I picked this book up during the Cyber Monday deals, which I did a video about because I got a lot of ebooks that day. The second royal engagement between Harry and Meghan was announced right around when I was getting this book, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna pick it up. I was kind of struggling through the book that I was reading, and I just wanted to read it. It sounded very fun. So I read it and finished it, and I loved it. The next book that I read was The City of Bones Volume 1 graphic novel, which is by Cassandra Clare and illustrated by Cassandra Jean. I've been following Cassandra Jean for a while on Tumblr, and I have the tarot set that she designed for the Mortal Instruments and just Shadowhunter series in general. I didn't dislike this graphic novel, but I didn't think that it was the best one. It definitely surpassed the art style and just overall the Infernal Devices graphic novels, which I really don't like. However, I thought that for the price, which I think was like $13, I didn't really think that it was worth it since it wasn't even the whole book. I think it was like a third of the book. The last scene in this volume was them at Magnus's party, which I know is not that far into the book, so I wish that it would have been a bit longer, and I did like the art style a lot more than I did in the Infernal Devices graphic novels, which had a different artist. One of my favorite things about this was, in fact, the fact that Clary is shown as very short, which she is in the books, but in the TV show and in the movie she was not, and so I feel like people kind of forget that thing about her, but they would show like full body shots of her next to Jace, and it was like she was this big and Jace was a lot taller. That was definitely something that I enjoyed. I thought that the cover was absolutely beautiful, and maybe I'll collect these at some point, but it wasn't really worth my money, and I wish I would have enjoyed it more. The next thing that I finished in December was Check Please Year 3. Check Please is an online webcomic. It's about hockey and baking and the gays, and has some great LGBT rep, but there is definitely gay representation as well as, I believe, bisexual representation. That's how I see it, but it's never really been announced what one of the main characters identifies as. As I mentioned, this is a webcomic, and so it is online, it is on Tumblr, and also another site. This is the third year of it, and it's not the third year in real time, it's just the third year of the series itself. Like, it goes through the 4 years that the main character is in college. So this entire year was his junior year of college. This volume wrapped up a few days after Christmas. On Christmas, one of the updates was posted, and I cried. I mean, everybody was just a mess, including myself. I'm really excited for the year 4 updates to start coming out, which are supposed to happen in March, I believe, but something that's very exciting about this is that it is getting a publishing deal, and so if you watched my most anticipated reads of 2018, you will see that I'm very excited because the first volume, which will include the first 2 years, is supposed to come out in the fall, and I'm so excited to be able to hold it in my hands. On the topic of comics, I picked up a few more in my Christmas book haul. I got them as presents, and one of them was Paper Girls. This is so fun. I read the first chapter and then took a break because I was trying to read another book, which I didn't get to this month, but I'm hoping to in January. But then I could not put this down after that. When I finished it, I really just wanted more. It left me in a place where I just wanted to keep going. It was kind of a cliffhanger, but if I had to relate this to one thing, it would definitely be Stranger Things. This follows 4 paper girls, and they're just girls who deliver papers, and they end up stumbling across this weird paranormal supernatural thing that's happening. It starts out in the 1980s, but involves sort of time travel and like a timeline and just this thing with like teenagers versus elders. I really don't completely understand it, but it's very, very cool, and I love the art style of it. I love the colors in it, and like if you look at the front of this, it shows the 4 main girls, and then in the top you'll see there's something up there, kind of looks like dinosaurs, and then on the back you get to see all the stuff that's going to happen in this book, which includes like these things, which I think are like, they're like water bears or something, but they're super huge, and I don't know why, but I swear I've seen this before. It's like a real thing, but this is just a really big version of it. I don't know. I think this includes the first 10 issues. It's like the first book, which includes 2 volumes. That's how I'm kind of understanding it, but I'm really not sure. So the next book that I would like to talk about is also kind of related to comics, and that is Solitaire by Alice Oseman. The reason that this is related to comics is because I picked it up due to a webcomic that I found. It's called Heartstopper. It is also by Alice Oseman. It is about 2 of the secondary characters within this novel. It is very cute. I could not mark it as read in 2017 because it is still ongoing. There's actually an update posted today and it is very cute. I like the art style of it. It is definitely different than Check Please, which is one of the only other webcomics that I read. It does involve some similar topics such as LGBT representation with a gay character and a bi character again. It's just this beautiful story about first love and friendship. And Alice Oseman said that she was thinking about writing a book about these two characters to give more backstory to them, but their story really worked as a comic instead, and that's the reason that she is making it in this format. I really like it. It's so cute. Like, I read it and I want more. It just makes me so happy. And that's definitely just how reading should make you feel. Like, it should just make you want to read more and just want to stay in that little bubble of happiness even if things aren't okay everywhere else. So now I'll get into actually discussing Solitaire. I read Solitaire in a single day. I literally went online and it was only $3.99 on Amazon. And I downloaded it, tweeted the author to tell her that I was in love with her and that I love Heartstopper and that I was about to start reading Solitaire, and I really like this story as well. Heartstopper also deals with some mental health topics. We haven't really gotten into it where we are in the comic right now, but it is going to get there at some point. Solitaire also really deals with mental health, and while it is a very I don't know how else to describe it, but aesthetically pleasing book, it does not romanticize mental health. It kind of just shows the struggle of the main character, whose name is Tori. She's the sister of Charlie, who's one of the main characters in Heartstopper. Tori's a very introverted girl. She likes to blog. She doesn't really have a lot of friends at school, and the ones that she does have, she just kind of messes up their relationships all the time. She is having a hard time, but she isn't really accepting it. And this book is a lot about friendship as well. She pushes people away, but Tori ends up finding the people who will stay behind and the people who will come back for her even when weird things start happening. Solitaire itself is this weird online cult. It starts taking place at Tori's school, and then it kind of seems like it's going all around her town, and it also seems to be focused on her, and it's very confusing for a lot of it. You really don't know what's going on. I think I kind of started figuring out who was behind it towards the end, right before Tori figured that out. It definitely keeps you on the edge of your seat because there is this whole weird Solitaire thing happening, but there's also Tori making friends and Tori trying to figure out who she is and realizing things about herself that she didn't know before. I really like this book. I probably would have put it onto my list of favorite reads of 2017 if I had read it before I filmed that video, because it was amazing. It's one of those books that just kind of sticks with you and just stays in your heart, and you can't stop thinking about it. And maybe it is because I read Heartstopper and that the next two books that I'm going to talk about are spin-off novellas of Solitaire, but I'm just very obsessed with Alice Oseman. I just ordered the physical copy of Solitaire as well as a physical copy of her book that came out in 2016, I believe, which is called Radio Silence, which I've heard great things about. I don't know why I've never picked this up before. I just kind of stumbled across it. I saw Heartstopper on Goodreads. I think somebody had added it to their read list or the TBR list or something like that, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll just read this, and then I just kept going and spiraled down in Alice Oseman books, and I think it was a pretty great decision. So like I said, there were two spin-off books, and the first one is Nick and Charlie by Alice Oseman. This just follows the two secondary characters who end up being the main characters of Heartstopper. I think it is set a year or 2 years down the line. It's right before Nick is about to go off to university, and Charlie is kind of freaking out about this because it's not that they have a very physical relationship, it is just that their relationship involves them seeing each other all the time, and they're always just hanging out. They think they're boring, but they're always just relaxing and hanging out at each other's houses, and they don't really have the most stereotypical of relationships. Part of this is due to Charlie's mental health and kind of the things that have been allowed in their relationship that might not have been in others, and you can definitely just feel this fear of what if long distance isn't going to work, and all these people who are saying that long distance isn't going to work, and Charlie kind of succumbing to that and thinking that because all these people are saying it that means that it's true. But you definitely see how Charlie's mental health plays a role in this and how he gets nervous about things and he worries, and as somebody who is constantly worrying about things, I can definitely relate to that. But it is a very cute read. You definitely see this strong relationship. And the final book that I read in December of 2017, and just 2017 in general, is This Winter by Alice Oseman. This is another novella spin-off of Solitaire. This one takes place before Solitaire, I believe, so if we're going to put it in a timeline, it goes Heartstopper, and then This Winter, and then Solitaire, and then Nick and Charlie. I think. Maybe don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works. This follows the three spring siblings, Tori, who's the main character of Solitaire, Charlie, who's the main character of Heartstopper, and Nick and Charlie, and also their younger brother Oliver. And it's just each of their experiences on the same day, which is Christmas. So now we are on to my first TBR of 2018, which is my January TBR. I have already finished a book, and I think that's pretty cool. It is a graphic novel, and that would be Seconds by Brian Lee O'Malley. This is the same author as the Scott Pilgrim vs. the World series. I've seen the movie, never read that. For some reason, still decided I wanted to pick this up, and I'm very glad that I did. I had no idea what this was about going into it. I'd just seen it recommended around BookTube, and I just wanted to pick it up. I really like the art style in it, and the main character, and just, everything that happens in it. It's a big story about like second chances. Seconds is also the name of the restaurant that the main character works at, or that she started and now she's trying to start another one. Once she's given one second chance to fix one thing, she ends up just overusing that power, and it kind of goes in a bad direction. The next book that I want to finish in January is Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. I would love to finish this in the next few days so that I can go see the movie before I go back to school, and I'm trying so hard. I'm this far into it, and it's kind of a struggle right now. I think I can do it, but I'm also just like not motivated to read this. I read Seconds and Paper Girls because I was bringing those books along so I could take a break from this, and then I got too captivated by them and couldn't put them down, and then I finished them and not this. So, you know, maybe Agatha Christie's just not for me. I'm definitely more of a Nancy Drew kind of girl. Carolyn Keene has never hurt me this bad. But I'm definitely going to finish this, but the movie looks so much more interesting. I don't understand how you can make a whole full feature film from what I am currently reading. It's told in third person, but it's like not omniscient third person, so you don't know what's going on in his head, and he's keeping all this stuff to himself, and that's not really helpful. Another book that I started in 2017 and I'm trying to finish in the beginning of 2018. It's really worth it. I don't know, I just got kind of sidetracked while I was reading it. That is Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan. I was reading this right around the time that I was reading The Royal We. They have similar themes because this involves like the richest families in Singapore. This is the very praised series. It's getting made into a movie. I really would like to finish this so I can move on to the next book because it is really interesting. The next book that I would like to read, I doubt I'm going to finish, but I definitely have to read some of it during my winter vacation, and that is First We Were Four by Alexander Sarawi. This is the book for my book club. I never actually finished the other book for my book club because I really did not like it, but this was my pick. It is about a secret society. I feel like it's going to be something along the lines of The Secret History, which is a book that I really loved, just a YA take on that. I'm trying not to go in knowing too much about this, and even the Goodreads profile for it did not have the best description. It was trying to keep it ominous, and I just really hope that I like it more than I liked Red Sister, which is the last book that we tried to read for book club, which is sitting over there, and I'm never going to touch it ever again. The next book that I would like to read in January is something that I've been saving since I bought it, and that is Godsgrave by J. Kristoff. I love this book. I haven't even read it and I'm already in love with it. Nevernight, which is the first book in this series, was the first book that I read in 2017. It just set me up right for 2017. It was so not what I expected, but it was so good at the same time. It was about an assassin going to an assassin school, which made me think that it was going to be somewhat like Throne of Glass, but it was nothing like that. Partially because this is an adult series rather than a young adult series, but also the writing style is just completely different. It is really not comparable, in all honesty. Our main character is Mia. She is set on vengeance against the people who destroyed her family and killed her parents. In the last book, you deal with her going through this assassin school, but she ends up betraying them in this one so that she can go train as like a gladiator or something. She had an amount of character development because she went through so many things in the last book, and you definitely see her as a child and seeing how she got to the point where she is now, but I definitely think there's going to be a lot that changes in this one, with the change of scenery and also the other characters that are going to be surrounding her. It's no longer the acolytes from the Red Church, instead it is gladiators, and I'm so excited for this. The next book is Call Me By Your Name by Andre Aciman. This is the movie tie-in cover edition, because this is very pretty in comparison to the original cover, which I didn't really like. Also, the only reason I know about this book is because the movie is coming out. I don't know that much about it. I've heard some interesting things. I know the movie has Armie Hammer and Timothy something. He looks like a grown-up version of Finn Wolfhard. I've definitely compared their faces before and been like, if you had to have an older version of Mike from Stranger Things, I'm pretty sure you could just pick that guy and it would work. I know this story takes place in Italy, which is a place that I love quite a bit. It involves an Italian-American teenager and a guest that comes to stay at their house. He is an archaeology student, I think. That's what the movie kind of made me think, so I'm just kind of basing it off of that. It seems like there is going to be a romance between them, either love or lust, I'm not really sure. Maybe some weird thing in between those two, or maybe it's different for one of them, something like that. I've seen lots of gifs of this movie. It looks like it's gonna break my heart, but somebody on Twitter told me that it was gonna be like good heartbreak. It was gonna cry, but it was gonna be okay. The final book that I'm hoping to read in January is The Raven King by Maggie Stiefvater. I wanted to finish the Raven Cycle reread that I was doing in 2017. I wanted to finish it in December. I ended up not being able to. I had finals, I had other stuff going on, and so hopefully I'll be able to finish this in January so that I can finish my reread and end on a strong note. I felt like if I tried to read it in December, I would be rushing through it, which is something that I did not want to do with this, because the first time I read it in one day and I just rushed straight through it. And this time around I really wanted to take my time. This is one of my favorite book series and I've already read this book, so I know it's going to be a good read. I just have to get around to doing it. So we'll see how that goes, I guess. So that is the end of my December wrap up and January TBR. I feel like my TBR is not too ambitious, and I kind of feel like I might end up picking up a few more books, but I don't want to stress myself out by having like 10 books on this list. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more of those videos, please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!